Am I the asshole for asking to change seats at a wedding? 10 years ago, I, 30, came out as gay to my childhood best friend, call him A, 30 meters, who outed me to our friends, including the uni rugby team I played on, in Australia. Half of my friends distanced themselves, even in 2010, but the others were supportive. Shortly after the season ended, some teammates who had a real problem with me being gay put me in the hospital. I figured fuck it, and came out to my family who were accepting. I was close with my younger sister, it's 27F, before this, so told her the detailed version, outed me. I lost a lot of friends. I was one of the people involved in my injuries. I also asked her not to say anything for reasons that I won't go into here. 5 or so years ago, I married a woman called LL is good friends with us, who went to the wedding after asking me if I had a problem with it. 4 weeks ago, Is and her fiance, Bill, asked me to look at revised wedding contracts. I'm a lawyer. Their wedding is delayed due to coronavirus. Amongst the info was a seating chart. I shouldn't have looked, but hey, contributory negligence. I had been told beforehand that A and L would be invited, but not that they were directly across the long table from me and my husband. I asked if it would be possible to move either me and my husband, or A and L. This was not well received. Is accused me of looking at things I should not have. True, I had already demanded to be seated near friends and changing my mind could not be accommodated. I was asked if A and L could be invited, so could have objected. I was told, but moot point. It's their wedding, and that I just need to get over it. Is and Bill later communicated no changes were to be accommodated, and if I don't like it, don't come. I told them I want to celebrate their marriage, but I cannot sit across from someone who has caused me much pain and grief. If that cannot be changed, 12 months out, mind you, then I will not attend. Is has since spun this to our parents, who are demanding I apologize to Is and Bill for causing undue stress. Our older sister and her husband have told me I don't know the stress of planning a wedding. I do, organizing my own, while working in corporate law, but whatever. My husband is supportive and wants me to explain why it's an issue, but Is knows already. NTA. He physically assaulted you. You shouldn't even have to be in the same room as that person. Is may know what happened, but not realize the damage this person psychologically has done. You don't have to explain anything, but having a conversation with family about what happened and why you are asking to be moved away from him might help the situation. But let me be clear, she's tar. You have a good relationship with her, so she should have your back when you try to communicate a concern. Edit to at, I also do not understand how they can stand being friends with someone who abused another human being over their sexuality. NTA. How callous can Iris be to not understand why you don't want to sit across from someone who helped put you in the hospital? You're being so accommodating already. I really don't understand why A and L or you and your husband can't be moved just a few seats down. NTA. My god. And not only outed you, but physically assaulted you and committed a hate crime against you. Asking to change seats is nothing. Frankly, it would be reasonable to ask her to cut ties with him and his family entirely, regardless of her friendship with his wife. If someone hurt my brother the way A hurt you, I wouldn't want any connection with them. Your sister's attitude is bizarre. I'm sorry she's acting like you're overstepping. You're not. NTA. Why don't you put together a little Slither show to show what A put you through? Play it over a big screen on the night. If she's happy enough to sit you next to A, then she should be happy enough for everyone to know what A is really like. Yeah, I know this would be an asshole move, but it's just a revenge thought I had pop into my head. Love the originality. If I'm ready to burn all my bridges at once by the time event rolls around, this is how I will do it. NTA. If your family members can't understand that you don't want to look someone who beat the shit out of you in the face for a whole wedding, they are not much family at all. I think this might be a buy-off situation. Build your own family of people who love and respect you, and fuck everyone else. I wanted to think, for the sake of our relationship, it was either an oversight or she was trying to force some reunion, but underestimated how painful this was for me. But her reaction was wild, so I can't say I believe that anymore. I also know, if I tell the family what I have here, they will support me, and this will probably handle this poorly, would like to avoid, but accept might not be avoidable. I'm sorry, you're supposed to just get over being violently assaulted in a hate crime to the point that you were hospitalized? I mean, I'd question anyone who'd be even remotely friends with someone who'd done that to someone I supposedly cared about, and all you're asking is to just be seated not right across from the dude. NTA at all, and if your family know the situation and are still supporting Iris in this, they can join her in the a-hole queue. NTA, I can't believe your sister would put you in the situation if having to sit across from someone who not only betrayed you so horrible, but physically assaulted you. You say they were accepting, but it doesn't sound like it. ESP when you factor in your older sister saying you didn't understand planning a wedding when you're married. I like to think her comment was more that her wedding into a Greek Orthodox family involved some 500 wedding guests, whereas mine was about 50 and was a much more laid back. Os used that as a she-stressed explanation for his behavior, despite the fact Is has willfully manipulated the retelling of events in her favor. NTA, when you confided to your sister years ago, she heard you out, but was not listening. If she was, she'd understand why sitting right across is not the greatest idea on the planet. Telling you to get over it, because it's been 10 years is not an argument. You don't forgive someone who does something that devious, while showing no remorse, no matter how long it's been. I want to give your sister the benefit of the doubt that her blowing up at you over looking at the seating arrangements and demanding another change is just stress getting to her, or perhaps she thinks you are asking too much from her wedding, but I can't shake that it was a decision to seat you across from maybe you should consider apologizing so you can clean the slate and have a mature conversation about why it is hard for you to be so close. To you didn't mean any disrespect by reading the arrangements. You were curious and saw something that would make it difficult to enjoy your sister's wedding. If at the end of the day the answer's still no, then you have to make the decision of if you will attend or not. Personally, I'd go regardless because it's family, but I haven't walked in your shoes, so I wouldn't be able to judge whether or not I could handle that. I hope everything works out in the end. NTA. I'm so sorry your sister is doing this. The outing is bad enough, but the fact that he and others hurt you so badly that you were in the hospital for an extended period puts it way out of bounds. Like, I can't imagine even still being friends with his wife, because who the hell marries a guy like that, let alone making you sit with them at the wedding. If the rest of your family doesn't know what this man did to you, it might be time for you to consider telling them. Show them photos, if you have them. Nobody in your family should be accommodating this walking garbage bag. Your sister should be deeply ashamed of herself. Info, am I understanding correctly? Routed you and participated in beating you up so badly that you spent days or weeks recovering in the hospital? Isn't your husband know, but no one else does? 5 years later you demanded special seating arrangements so you could be near your friends. Is did that for you. You went through her documents, presumably a generous favor, and noticed that you're paired with A and his wife as your most direct conversation partners. You asked for a second special seating accommodation. Is flipped out and refused, so now you're not going. NTA. The fact that your sister even invited this guy to the wedding is horrific, and the way she is treating your request is also just no. The fact that she remains friends with someone who married this guy also tells you something. I can't imagine even wanting to be in the same room with a person who put my brother or friend in the hospital in combination with a hate crime. I think your sister might be just as homophobic as him if she literally invited him to her wedding despite him putting you in the hospital over you being gay. If she is friends with homophobes, she is a homophobe herself. This is so shitty and unfair to you. Jesus. MB, but even if I wasn't, if I were you, I'd legit never talk to her again. I had been told beforehand that A and L would be invited. NTA on all levels. But your sister is a piece of utter trash for inviting someone who gay bashed you. What the actual fuck point? Agreed. To me, this is the moral equivalent of inviting your sibling's rapist to an event. Let's set aside the issue of seating for the moment. This man almost killed Opus. Injuries severe enough to require that level of medical care are very bad. And somehow, is friendly with this guy? that she sees him socially as relationship ending. Emo. NTA. I personally wouldn't ever talk to anyone who even associated with the despicable assholes who put you in the hospital. Your younger sister is not only still friends with them and inviting them to her wedding, but is trying to make you the bad actor here for objecting to being seated next to these horror shows. Is an asshole. So is anyone who knows about this situation and isn't 100% in your corner. I think people lose their right to be thought of as decent people for life when they attack someone out of homophobia. I'm so sorry, Opus. NTA, but your sister is. Maybe tell your family the whole backstory. If not, honestly stay home. Hugs. NTA, what you're asking is more than reasonable. My advice to you is tell your younger sister you won't be attending her wedding. And tell your parents the reason why before she gets to them and spins the story to make you look bad again. There will be a fallout, no doubt, but it won't be of your making. Look your sister in the eye and ask her how she would feel if she told her best friend in the world a secret, her most important secret, and that best friend not only told everyone who would listen about it, but cornered her with other people she thought were her friends and put her in the hospital because they believed that secret meant she deserved it. If she can honestly tell you she wouldn't feel the same way at being forced to interact with that person, I just wouldn't go, because she clearly can't understand what that kind of betrayal does to a person and cares more about her own convenience than your feelings. NTA. But I do have to wonder what her friend and the husband have been saying to the younger sister, that she apparently doesn't think this is a big deal. NTA. Fuck, this was painful to read. I'm so sorry your sister and family are putting you through this. They clearly have absolutely no idea of the pain you went through. To be outed and betrayed by your best friend in a sports environment, then to be put in hospital as a result of his actions. I remember Australia in 2010. Mate, it wasn't exactly the friendliest place for gays, and TBH it still isn't a lot of the time. You must have been dragged through hell, but hey, here you are, successful on the other side. How unbelievably condescending to place you on a table near him and say that you don't understand the stress of planning a wedding. Like that fucking compares to what you went through. You must be so hurt and feel very betrayed. You're a better person than I by being so civil this far. You shouldn't have to explain it to them. It should be self-evident. NTA, NTA, NTA.